So changed my dechlorinator setup to 2 big blues with carbon in, and they final big blue and bone char to remove any metals that could be in the water. The thing I found with all these big blues is they need regularly agitating, otherwise you just end up getting chlorine burning through on them. It's like reading with the Hannah ultra low range chlorine test meter. Had about a reading of about 6 or 7 on that, but I've decided to work out an easier way than getting the big blues out and rolling them up and down the garden. So in an ideal world you'd need about a 3/4 or 1 inch mains connection, which is the way they do it in the US, where they use these for whole house filtration. What you need is somewhere between 20 and 40 litres a minute of water through it, and that's more than a mains water supply in this country is going to supply. So the only other way of getting that kind of volume through it is to use air. So I'll connect my air pump up. It will pump to about 2 or 3 metres depth. There's only about 1 metre of carbon in there. I'll connect it up to the reverse side of my big blue individually, one at a time, and then take the excess, which will come from the outflow. So it will go down through the tube and then out of the exit. If you do it the other way around, all that will do is it will fill the top of the cylinder up with air and push all the water out. What I'm aiming to do is to keep the vessel full mainly of water and to fluidise it in the same way you do with a moving bed. Because I've fitted these intermediate T's and the end is blocked where it's going up into the solenoid valve, which is shut off, I can just connect into these points here with an 8mm, the 3/8 connection. I can open that to drain, and what you'll see coming out of this end is probably about 3 or 4 litres of water. You see we've got a layer of air in here up to about there, and then this will just be fluidising in the same way that you do with a K1 bed. Just need to connect the air input into the outflow. I've got a valve here to stop the air getting pumped out of the inlet, and then turn off my air pump for a minute, swap out the connection there. I can connect my air line directly into my 8080 air pump. I can blow air through here down the central tube of the outflow so that it bubbles up through the cylinder. It'll push a little bit of water out of here to start with, and then that will just fluidise and resettle the bed. So you'll see water start to come out of here until it's got air coming through it. You get a few litres out of there, not an enormous amount. And then will literally be spitting mainly air. You can't really hear it. I'll try putting the phone against the cylinder. And you might be able to hear that with the phone pressed against the side of the cylinder, but that's the sound of the air, 80 litres a minute, bubbling up through this cylinder, which is then fluidising and mixing the carbon in it so that it will bring that chlorine down to 0 again. And then I'll do the same for each of the other cylinders individually, one at a time, If you try and push the air through too many cylinders, you'll just end up buggering up your pump. So let that fluidise for about 4 or 5 minutes, get a real good mix on it, and then I'll go down and do the next one. So that's run for about 5 minutes now. Just going to disconnect these, swap them down to the next cylinder, turn those valves off, and I'll take outflow, connect it into the next cylinder down the line, and the air into the next one. With this shut off, through here to there, the air will now move through the next cylinder, down through that, pushing the waste out of this one. So open that one up to waste, open that one up to the air, turn the air pump back on, and I can fluidise the carbon in this big blue as well. You can see some of the carbon that came out, the fines that came out with the last cylinder I cleaned. And that's a little bit of water that's pushed out of that one. I'll now be fluidising the carbon in this one. Don't know whether you can hear that if I put the phone up to the edge of it. You might be able to hear all the air that's being pushed through there. It's bubbling up and agitating that media. It's just a bit easier than rolling it up and down the garden. Then last cylinder connected into the end, into the centre part of that with the air. So that's it all agitated, and the bed reformed. What I need to do now is I need to refill these but vent it, because you need to put the water in the outlet side to vent the air out of it properly. And if you just push water in there, you'll have a pocket of air that's trapped inside. Reverse filling the big blue, and use it to drive off the fines that will have been created until they run clear, and do the same for the other three as well. You can see that's coming out. All the fines have been remixed since re-stratifying the carbon bed, and you should just run for a while now until it comes out clear. Well, that's the last cylinder just flushing through now. And out there, water's going into my anti-three-way valve. So just dragging them out and rolling them up and down the garden. Now the carbon has been backwashed in all three cylinders, completely mixed up using air to fluidise the carbon, and should be ready to go again. Get them all up and running, run them to waste for an hour or so, and then I'll check the chlorine level.